With the Olympics being in Milan, I thought I'd share some thoughts and experiences on Milan. I did not care for Milan. It was one of the few places in Italy I did not care for. But this has little to do with the city itself, and more the fact that I was broke when I visited. Sorry, Milan. Milan is a city in northern Italy with a reputation for being the fashion capital of the world. It does not have your reputation for being an accommodating place for a poor college student on fall break. And yet one of my friends convinced me to start our journey through Italy there. Why? The flights were cheaper. I'd been spending the semester studying abroad in London. A friend and I wanted to spend our week-long fall break visiting Italy while spending as little money as possible. Hence, while we really wanted to see Venice, Florence, Rome, all the go-to sites, we discovered we could save money by flying first to Milan and then back to London from Rome, rather than beginning in a city we actually wanted to visit. And we figured that while there, we might as well spend a day in the city. Why not? My friend's grandmother paid for their time in Italy, which left me alone for the first leg of this journey. I landed late at night and took a taxi to the hostel I'd booked. I'd booked the cheapest one I could find, and when the taxi dropped me off at the apartment block lit with two little streetlights, I was convinced I'd have my kidneys harvested if I rang the doorbell. But lacking the alternatives and prepared to fight and make sure these organ harvesters earned my kidneys, I rang the doorbell. I did not encounter organ harvesters, but rather a very young, very sleepy man who grumbled in not English as he led me to a room full of bunks. Had my suspicions not already been raised, I'd have been further convinced I was soon to be a warning in some "Don't do this" travel advisory page, because the bunks were all pristine, hospital white, and vacant. So while I made a phone call and talked with a friend long enough to convince myself that all was well, or at least that people would come looking for me should I or my kidneys not be present the next day, and I finally went to sleep. I woke up intact either because I'd convinced the young man I wasn't worth the trouble, or I was mistaken that this was just a normal hostel and I was just being paranoid. That or he was tired after a long day of kidney harvesting and didn't want to bother with mine. Either way, I left the hostel whole and undrugged and took a bus to downtown Milan. The Duomo, Milan's most famous icon, was absolutely spectacular. It's one of the few churches that lets you go on the roof and is entirely made of marble, really unlike any other cathedral. And that's about it, as far as I was concerned. It's nice, but unless you have money, your time in Milan drastically goes down from there. There's this fantastic shopping area that features on many fashion magazines, and when you go there with a net worth of less than $2.5 million, you are profoundly unwelcome. When you are clearly a college student who has no idea the difference between Prada and Lada, one is a purse and the other is a Soviet-era car, by the way, which I did not know at the time, they at best treat you like a vacant spot on the floor, or at worst, like a patch of dirt on the floor, your presence prompting the swift application of a broom. Venturing further afield allowed us to visit a fortress designed and built by Leonardo da Vinci and the church where the Last Supper was housed. Neat, right? Not really. That famous painting is actually a fresco painted on the wall of an otherwise unremarkable church, and good luck if you ever want to see it because the ticketing process is convoluted and limited, since it's a really small building and a pretty small painting. The fortress was unremarkable too, and really just a way to kill an afternoon. We ran out of stuff to do real quick. And so I'm happy the Olympics are in Milan, because there's otherwise very little to enjoy of the city if you're not rich, a model, or enjoy the smell of leather you can't afford. I'm also happy I saw the city because the Duomo was worth visiting, but see it, take a walk about, and then get on the train to Florence. You'll have more fun there. The food's better too.